Hey, Jason from Bohemiabees. It is a nice, beautiful, late winter day. Late winter, spring? What do we call this? Sing? I don't know. But it's about 57 degrees here in the apiary on the eastern shore of Maryland. Our bees are abuzz here. So you can see behind me all these colonies that have wintered. I want to share with you what robbing looks like. If you haven't spotted it already, it's pretty obvious. So people are like, oh, my bee's being robbed out, or is it just a good activity? Well, there's a lot of good, strong colonies here coming out on the eastern shore of Maryland, but I can tell you the one behind me is definitely being robbed out. Let's take a look. All right, so if you look at these colonies up here, they have pretty good activity coming and going. They look like they've got enough guard bees to defend the entrances based on the reducers that I have in, so not concerned about any of these. Even the ones to the left over here, I'm not concerned about. This one I'm concerned about. If you take a look at it, now we need to get this under control or it will spread into others. How do we get this into control? Well, you close it off. Put a robbing screen on and you close off that top entrance because that's what looks like where they're going to. Now that's going to take a little while to get them to stop, but let's grab a robbing screen and see what we can do to help kind of mitigate this problem. All right, so taking a closer look, if you see up here and you see all that residue on the outside of the hive, that's the wax and everything else, the honey that they're essentially ripping out apart of the frames. And I need to stop the process. We'll pull the lid off here in a second and show you inside. Down here, we've got the entrance as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put a robbing screen on this. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that with robbing, you're going to trap in the initial trap in of the robber bees that are stuck in there. Not much you can do about that. There's going to be some infighting, and hopefully the losses aren't too bad, and this colony survives. It's a pretty big colony. We overwintered 2 deeps. So I think they're just tearing apart that top super unless the bees moved up during the winter of the top super. So we'll dissect that in just a minute, but let's get this robbing screen. So we're going to be using these Bee Smart robbing screens. These are great because they're very durable. They last season to season. You can get them on our shop if you want. I'll put a link in the description. But what you got to do is come down and basically I'm clearing off the bottom board of some of the dead bees that are getting as casualties in this mess. And then I'm going to go ahead and lean that up against that. And then I have pins to put it in place, so we'll secure it in just a second. Okay, so we've got the robbing screen secured. And the good thing about these robbing screens is that the bees that are not house bees will still try to come in the front entrance where they're used to, where the pheromones and scents are for them to be directed to go in. But they can't get inside until you open one of these gates up here and allows the house bees to leave. So we're going to close it off completely, and then we're going to work to the top to close that off. Okay, so unfortunately, this colony appears to not have made it. There's no guard bees at the front entrance. Unfortunately, you can see the dead cluster here in the top. Tons of honey stores, but just that dead cluster. And now you can see all the opportunists. They're in here trying to get all the honey. So we're going to close that off, and so they don't create any more robbing. You could let them rot a bit out, but it just creates more headache within the apiary if you've got other surrounding hives. So it's best to shut it down and then come back and address it when they've calmed down. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes or so, and as you can see, a lot of the robbing activity has slowed down. There are still some bees that are trying to get in under the lid. It's the nature of the chain of reaction that occurs. So we put robbing screens on all the hives that are near this hive, including this hive. Close them up so that the only thing that can be open on most of the hives would be like an upper entrance. So the bees can still come and go. The house bees will know to go to that upper entrance. But the bees that are robbing this large hive out due to the cluster not making it through the winter can be slowed and stopped here shortly. And we can mitigate any other damage or any other robbing activity on the rest of our colonies here in the apiaries. So this is just this yard. Our other 2 yards were fine. We had a little bit of robbing activity on one hive today, and that's ceased now as well. Same remediation. And then the other yard was completely fine. There was no robbing. Probably best if you have these robbing screens or you need to get them, go online and purchase them through me on our website. We can ship them to you anywhere in the country. Go to Bohemiabees.com and go to our store. You can pick them up. I think they're about $9. Probably the best insurance policy to have. We use them in the fall when there's a heavy dearth and they're looking to build their stores up, and that robbing activity could occur. We use them here early spring as well. It's just the timing of it, because when you put a robbing screen on, it makes it a little more difficult for them to clean their bottom board out. So it could have a higher chance of the mortality of bees getting stuck in their hive if they don't have an upper entrance. So that's why we always have a lot of upper entrances like you see over here. They've done a good job over the last few days of cleaning out the colonies, so getting their dead out, bringing their dead out. So we felt it was comfortable. We were comfortable enough to put these robbing screens now on until really spring gets here and the nectar flow starts and the pollen really starts to be brought in. So we'll leave these overnight just to have them so that they don't create any robbing events on these other hives, and then we'll come along and we'll open up the small little door you see up here, and then the house bees will be able to come and go from there should any robbing kick back up again. And then we'll come back and dissect that larger hive, determine how the cluster died, why it died, if there's anything anything we can salvage, whether it be frames of honey, what have you, that's still left. That's how we mitigate robbing here on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. Again, it's not a prescription on how to do it. There's a lot of other techniques that you can find to help stop robbing. The key is identifying robbing and knowing what to do when you see it occurring. Another would be to be proactive in, if we would have got out here earlier and got robbing screens on, assessed it, then we could have probably stopped it from even starting. But again, it's really sometimes beekeeping is more reactionary than proactive, but it's better to be proactive. I hope you learned a lot. If you're not, definitely put a comment below on how you maybe mitigate robbing when you've seen it. We'd like to hear back from you. We love comments. We love trying to respond to help people and how they manage their colonies and the craft of beekeeping. So here's another day. Here's an early day, spring day here on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, and just another tip for how we manage something in our apiary. Remember, here at Bohemia Apiary, beekeeping is definitely more than a hobby. It's an obsession. Thanks for watching, everyone.